other times where, people just might be using that information to go put up on their website. So you never know.
Hey listeners, welcome back to the Motorcycle Adventures Podcast. My name is John. I will be your host as per usual. This particular episode was recorded in July of 2019 with my good friend Garrett Ortiz. Now, we both co-hosted a podcast called Crushing Miles, but ultimately we decided, hey, we're both too busy to do another show and work on another website, so we abandoned that idea. But I wanted to make sure that all of those episodes got into the fray over here at the Motorcycle Adventures Podcast. So without further ado, here's your next episode, and we're discussing how social media, or if social media, is changing the way you ride. We'd love to hear your feedback about this one. Check it out.
They didn't have their cell phone or, their Garmin or whatever it might be. They wouldn't know how to get back type thing. And I think that, like, when you brought up that point, it is important for you to be aware of your surroundings and how you would get out if there wasn't anyone else to rely on. Because, that person that has all the information could have a heart attack. And if that happens, how are you going to get help? So,
yeah, if you can't communicate where you're at, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. But I feel like, sometimes social media can actually, cause issues like that just because, and change the way that you're riding, because you think, people are going out there, they're shooting all this video and stuff. I want to just go out and do the same. Well, then people get lost and they're not, real aware of how to find out where they're at and all that other stuff. But
yeah, I just can't fathom being out there and not having an understanding of the lay of the land and having some means or method for communicating with people if something goes wrong, or if you do end up getting lost, you need to be able to reach out to people.
Going back to, how social media has changed, and has it changed the way that I ride, taking pictures and stuff on the trail, and it definitely can bog down a ride if you're not careful on how many pictures you're taking or how much content you're trying to get. But it also makes it more fun in a way, because you're able to share that experience with thousands of people. Yeah,
I think this social media wave has created an undeniable urge to share everything that you're doing and everywhere that you are, and with the best of intentions. But yeah, for me, it's definitely slowed down my rides quite a bit. You'll stop, maybe you'll take a shot, you ride 15 seconds down the road and there's another one and you're like, man, I need to get this thing moving. It's been really hard for me to differentiate between the two. I really have to go out and do one or the other. We've got the motorcycle adventure business. Now we're trying to create content for Crushing Miles. I need to either go out and create content or go out and ride, and that's what I've been doing. There's some days when I leave all this stuff at home, cameras, GoPros, you name it, and I just go out and ride, usually on my own, and enjoy it. But there's days when I go out there and I want to capture content. So that's just kind of the way I'm approaching it right now.
Yeah, and the nice thing about technology these days, though, is we can have our GoPro just on top of our helmet and not have to worry about creating content too much, because it's going to be creating it for us automatically, and then we can grab still pictures or whatever we might get. So if you want to just go out there and not be snapping pictures with your cell phone or with your DSLR, you at least have your GoPro on. Who knows, you might catch a good crash or something.
Yeah, you might catch something. I wish I'd had mine on a few weeks ago. I came around a corner and there was a bear eating some trash or something, and it scared the crap out of me just to come around the corner and see this black bear. And then he took 2 leaps and scaled a tree like you wouldn't believe. And he wasn't that big. I figured he was maybe a year old. So then I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, where's the mom? I got the hell out of there. But that would have been cool to catch on camera. So yeah, GoPros are super convenient for that.
Yeah, I've caught a family of deer on GoPro a few times. Actually, when I was in the Mojave Preserve back in the end of March, beginning of April, I caught a family of deer when I was just cruising down this road at like 7 o'clock at night, and came around the corner, saw them. They bolted when they heard me coming. But it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool to capture nature and like the natural like that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's like influenced you to ride more, because sometimes particular weather conditions or riding area opens or something, it makes me more apt to go because I can capture and share some content. Do you think it drives people to get out more than what they did before?
Totally, I think. At least for me, when it rains down here in SoCal, it doesn't happen very often. Although this winter it rained quite a bit, but that's when you really want to get out and start riding. And then everyone in all of the social media or adventure, dual sport, uh, off-road community wants to share those experiences and compare and contrast how everyone's day went, and it makes it kind of fun. That's another part of it that I like. Is it really social media helps to bring everyone together and communicate about what their experiences are. Um, but at the same time, as we know, it can cause some issues when that happens too, where you have people messaging you asking, "Oh, where are you riding? Why don't you go find out yourself?" And I think there's sometimes when you want to share with people, but there's other times where people just might be using that information to go put up on their website. So you never know.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, I got a little bit frustrated the other day. I get a lot of what I call them flybys, and they're usually people that I don't know, that I've never interacted with, and they want to know where I'm riding, what trail that is, what landmark that is, and I know that I'm not in the minority here. I'm sure that a lot of people experience this, but if I don't really have some sort of relationship with you, I'm really not okay with divulging that information to you. And we'll go back to what I talked about with Chris Vestal from Moto Minded. Part of this motorcycle thing is getting out there and exploring on your own and finding all these little hidden gems. You'll find some of your own that you don't want to share with people. So that kind of social media, at least from my perspective, it's kind of ugly, and it's quite a turnoff. And usually when I give some obscure answer like, "Hey, this is in Oregon," or "It's in the Pacific Northwest," or "It's in the desert," people call me an asshole, or they call me names or whatever, and they block me. Or somebody from New York last week said, "Oh, I'm just going to unfollow you," and I was like, "Right on." This just isn't a lot of this stuff isn't information that I really want to give away. But I don't beat on the people that geotag or tell people where they're at or whatever. I'm pretty neutral on this. You go out and do your own thing and have a good time, and I'm going to do the same. And whatever information we choose to divulge, that'll be up to the both of us. But I'll tell you, living here in Central Oregon, even just over the last couple of years, you can't go anywhere even on a weekday without seeing people at every landmark, every overlook, every campground. It's just totally overrun, and it's kind of sad to see. And I would attribute, social media. I would say that social media has definitely accelerated a lot of that. More people are moving here, obviously, but it's kind of sad to see from my perspective.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've been getting a lot of comments, PMs recently. "Oh, where is that? Where are you riding? What is that next to?" Type questions. And it's hard. It's hard as someone that wants to share that information, but at the same time, you want to keep those things kind of on the down low. And so if I know the person, like you said, I know them well, then I'll maybe be a little more forthcoming with that information. But if I don't know you, I'll probably just nicely say, "Hey, it's in SoCal. It's near this city," or something like that, and kind of be vague. SoCal is huge, but you know, it just at the end of the day, it just comes down to wanting to keep like our past podcast on Ben Motorcycle Vendors, wanting to keep some of those trails secret because we don't want to turn out like some of the trails that we used to ride that are now blown out.
Yeah, we used to cuss the quad riders for blowing out our trails, and nowadays it's actually side by sides. I've met them on trails that they weren't legally supposed to be on. I've met them out on backcountry discovery routes and roads too, and that's a tough one. That's not a battle you're going to win. I hate to meet those guys. I mean, they have every right to be in some of these places too. But yeah, that one kind of sketches me out. But back to social media, not all is bad. I love the Facebook groups and the communities. The amount of information you can get out of there, for about a bike, for instance, the 790, we've got our own Facebook group, 790 Adventure R, a lot of information shared in there, a lot of valuable resources. So I love it for that. And, instant updates, like when I was on the BDR last year and there was a bunch of fires, I was able to ping a few people and figure out how they worked around them and road closures and stuff like that. So I love social media for those types of instant updates. I think that's great.
Yeah, and I think another good thing about social media is you're able to find some products from certain manufacturers that really don't have any market share, so to speak, but it's really, really good stuff to look for or to try out. And that way, you can get awareness out about certain things that people might not know about, and that could actually be a really good product. It's just there's no awareness that was created behind it. And so social media makes that easy because you see these companies post, and they have like a hashtag or something that you can follow and look at. It makes it cool because you can see what's new and upcoming instead of just sticking with everything that's, already pretty well developed as far as, for example, rotor guards, whether it be, bulletproof designs, which a lot of people know, or there's a new one out there called Aries Manufacturing, which is some one that nobody knows about, but it's actually a pretty cool idea. So stuff like that, you're able to find neat little niche products that could be even better than what's out there already.
Yeah, good point. That's actually how I discovered MotoMinded. I came upon them on Instagram, visited their website, and then started to fall in love with all the products they offer. I actually found you on Facebook. But yeah, I've done a bunch of business myself through Instagram and through Facebook. So it's definitely a great thing for small business. And I don't want people to think that I'm just sitting here bashing social media, but it definitely has changed behaviors and influenced the way we ride and the way we operate small business too.
Yeah, I mean, and what I want to focus on with the whole Crushing Miles thing is, so hopefully we're able to find some innovative stuff that everyone else will be able to benefit from and see that there's other options out there too. So smaller companies, like I was talking about, earlier before, that, might be better for you than something that's mainstream already. So it's all about innovating, and companies know that now, or you hope most of them do. So there's a lot of small businesses out there that are innovating, like MotoMinded. And I think it's important for everyone to know that there are options out there other than just the mainstream stuff.
Definitely. And, for some of our listeners who may just be diving into social media, what are some of the things you use while you're out there riding to create content and document whatever it is that you're up to?
So what I bring along is my cell phone. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to cell phone technology, so I always have the latest technology, but I use a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus for all my pictures on the go, pictures for adventure type writing, social media stuff. And then occasionally, if I'm doing a long multi-day ride, I'll bring my DSLR. I just have an entry-level Nikon D3400. And that pretty much covers it as far as for pictures like stills. For action camera, I have a GoPro Hero 7 Black, and that is one phenomenal camera. It's amazing how they're able to work the software so that it stabilizes the image the way it does. One thing it does make you look like you're going really slow sometimes, but it is a super smooth video stream. But other than that, as far as a mount for your GoPro, so I use a chin mount to help with the point of view. I like the view of the bars when I'm recording video. Kind of gives a better point of view, in my opinion, than on top of the helmet. And that's pretty much it for social media stuff.
Yeah, that all sounds like stuff that most of us would carry on a ride. Myself, I've got a Hero 6 Black, Hero 7 Black, and I just picked up the new DJI Osmo action camera, which is supposed to be a GoPro killer, or at least rival the GoPro. So I'll make sure I report back to you guys on what I find out with that. I've also got a DJI Osmo Pocket, which is a handheld 4K camera. It's super small, does some amazing things. It can also take photos. I think if I could only carry one thing with me, I would probably just carry the Osmo Pocket. It's so versatile. And then I've got a Sony mirrorless camera that I kind of kick around and beat up and take on my back to take still photos. But that's pretty much what I take with me. I'm really frustrated with the GoPros for the sound quality when you get up to speed. And I know I can rig up a mic with a dead cat and all that, but I'm very interested to see what this Osmo action camera does in terms of sound, because there's some tunability with the sound there too. So I'll report back to you guys, but that's pretty much what I'm carrying to document and share stuff from every ride. And I guess I could jump in there with just a little bit more. You can always bring a tripod for your camera, your GoPro, or whatever. There's some real small ones you can throw in your pack to help you set up shots. ND filters are really nice for taking photos, or controlling light in your GoPro videos. You can buy the filters for the GoPros, for the Osmos, for your regular mirrorless camera, whatever the case may be. Those are just a couple of the other things that I forgot to mention there, but I thought maybe I should bring up.
Yeah, there's some rides where less is better. And then there's other rides, like I said, those multi-day rides where you want to get maybe better quality images, and that's I'll pull out the DSLR for stuff. But yeah, technology is rapidly changing. One thing I wanted to ask you about the DJI, do you know if like the action cam, the drone, and the Pocket can integrate together somehow? Like, can they communicate with each other in a way to make everything come together at once as far as imagery?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I do have a bunch of drones. Occasionally I take my drones with me, but if you do ride with your drones, make sure you've got a really good case for them. If they get beat around, it's really hard on the gimbals, speaking from experience. I'm not sure about integration. I could tell you that the Osmo Pocket and the Osmo Action Camera, they share the same app, so I suspect there'll be some sort of integration there. But when you're talking about the drones and what I've been using lately, the Mavic 2 Pro, it's a completely different app, so I'm not sure if you can tie stuff together. Obviously, in post you can go do whatever you want, right? You can mesh all that footage together, but I'm not sure yet. And again, I haven't had a chance to try out the action camera just yet.
And I'm working on getting a drone as well. I'm going to go with a Parrot, a Nafi, I believe, just because it can pack up really nicely. And it's supposed to be pretty decent too for off-road stuff. So we'll be able to get a good comparison on drones, I think, as well.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. I plan to drop another episode this week on sand riding, so stay tuned. And I know this is a unique week for everybody. Perhaps you're quarantined because of the coronavirus. Perhaps you're practicing social distancing, or things have slowed down due to this pandemic. So I'm going to try to get some more content out to you. So hang in there, and I always appreciate the support. Don't forget about us on social media at Ben Motorcycle Adventures on both Facebook and Instagram. And of course, don't forget about our website, benmotorcycleadventures.com. We'll see you again later this week.